So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're gonna make some giblet curry. Sometimes, your mother's out of town or auntie is not available and you gotta cook your own stuff. So what we're doing is right now we're gonna steam the giblets. These are pre-cleaned giblets. We went ahead and made sure the linings are off too. You gotta prep your giblets properly before you put them in the saucepan, or you'll get some mud in your teeth. After we clean it and rinse it, we're gonna steam and boil the giblets in some salt and some water in a at least 8-inch saucepan. With some garlic and ginger. Alright, now we're going to put the giblets in after we let the water boil. And you want to cover this. And before we put the cover on, we're going to put some garlic and some ginger, and we're going to cover this for about 20 minutes. Just make sure to leave the pot lid off a little bit so it can steam out. You should prep your onions and tomatoes, chilies and mixed masala and most of your ingredients before you even start cooking. It'll be a lot easier, especially when you come back from the pub. You won't make too much noise in the kitchen. As you can see, I'm using Thai chili in here, so this is going to be very tita. Make sure you use a wooden spoon and you stir your giblets. I want all of them to be able to go underneath the water. You want all the water to evaporate. I'm doing this on the gas stove. I know some of y'all have burners, but usually if you put it on medium to high, you'll actually get the right temperature. At this point, I want to take the cover off and leave it off so all the water can start evaporating. And while you're bored, you can always have some chocolate or have a cookie. It's very important to have a lot of people in the kitchen too. Always. Because then you get to eat and show the curry that you're gonna make. What kind of chocolate is this, huh? It's white chocolate. Ooh, infused chocolate, okay. Giblets are a good way to sober up after a long night. But it's actually a nice source of vitamin B, and it actually is good for neurological issues. I heard a doctor say. But you know what? When you make it spicy, it tastes good no matter what. Curry is curry, right? But what's best than chicken curry? After the water boils off, we're gonna put some oil in here, and then we're gonna add our tomatoes and onions and chilies and our mixed masala and our thyme. And then we're gonna let the cooking and the curry process take its course. I usually use the coconut oil. My mother likes to use the canola oil, but sometimes you don't need to put so much oil in curry if it has meat-based products in it. Or you can use something organic like this. It'll actually reduce the cholesterol, and if your doctor is saying that you have high blood pressure, you should probably reduce the amount of oil you put in your food. So just to tell you a little bit about this recipe, it comes from Durban, South Africa. This is my mother's recipe. Maybe it's your mother's recipe too. I was just lucky enough for her to write it down. She said she was going to be out of town. And I said, Mom, please give me the recipe. I need to eat some good food while you're gone. But she stressed preparation for making giblets is very important. Remember, I bought pre-cleaned giblets or chicken gizzards. Some places they don't clean it, so you need to cut it open individually, rinse it out, and then you'll see a yellow lining. You need to pull the lining off too, because if you cook it with those lining and the insides, you can get very sick, because those are all the things that the chicken ate and processed through the stomach. It's very important that you prepare these foods that are delicacies well, or you can mess up and you'll have to throw it all away. You don't want to cross-contaminate it either. You want to keep the clean ones with the clean ones, and when you're cleaning it, use 2 bowls. One for clean gizzards and one for gizzards that still need to be cleaned and prepped. Now you can see we almost have 20 minutes. We've been boiling this with our ginger, garlic, salt and water. And you can tell that the giblets have turned a different color too. So now we're going to put about 2 spoons worth of coconut oil. We're going to use organic coconut oil. Now as you can see, there's no rice or roti. This curry is being cooked for ketogenic diet. We're reducing our gluten in our household.
If you want something to feel like you're having some rice, not the vegetable type, have some rice cauliflower. They sell these big bags at Costco. It'll feel like you're eating rice. Texture is the same, but it's a little bit healthier for you.
I don't think this person knows that there's no Costco in South Africa, but Sam, you can get it at or yeah, one of the Walmart stores might sell it soon. So I kept on stirring the giblets. You must keep on stirring it through this whole process so it doesn't get burnt. I'm going to put 2 spoons, big spoons of this coconut oil. And you want to stir it up a little bit. Now I told you guys this recipe is from Durban. I think you guys all saw my Phoenix red on. I'm not from Phoenix, I'm actually from Reservoir Hills and Newlands West. So this is a Newlands West curry with a Reservoir Hills flavor. Now we're going to reduce the heat. We're going to reduce it to less than medium, but not lower than low. And we're going to add our onions, our chopped onions. And remember to stir it during this process. We're gonna add our chilies. Make sure to stir it. Add the thyme. Now you're gonna let it cook a little bit before you add your tomatoes and your mixed masala. Now about 10 minutes into it, after I added my onions and my chilies, you want to add your tomatoes. You add about 2 whole tomatoes cut up, and you got your curry leaf. And where's my mixed masala? So it all depends on how spicy you want this with your mixed masala. I like my food a little bit thicker, so make sure you get evenly distributed. 2 spoons. And then you want to stir it up. Make sure you stir it up. You want everything mixed up. And then you're going to close your lid. You can add some water if you'd like to at this point, but very little. But I like my curry thick, so I'm not going to add any water at all. And I'm going to let it sit for about another 15 to 20 minutes. So we're going to check in on our giblet curry. Oh, look at that steam. It's looking lovely. Make sure you stir it as you go. You can make a chutney out of this too. You want to make sure that the heat is not too high and it's not burning at the bottom. And make sure that you stir your curry. I use a wooden spoon because a lot of chefs say when you use a wooden spoon, it actually diffuses the atomic particles of the tomato because it's acidic, and your spoon actually reduces the acidity and it prevents any of the pan from actually going into your food, because the wood actually helps the acidity spread on the pan evenly, and it reduces from scratching your pan as well too while you're cooking acidic food. Now I'm going to cover it up for another 10 to 15 minutes and reduce the heat one more time to almost below low, so the curry can heat up nicely and the tomatoes can swelter and they can get nice and soft and become a nice paste, thick curry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's check on our late night curry. Oh, nice. It's looking lovely. Well, I'm gonna have mine with some bread. I didn't make any rice and no roti. Maybe one of these days we'll get down to the nitty-gritty and I'll have my mom come over and we'll show you how to make roti. Well, have a great night, and remember, whenever the auntie is not home or your mom is asleep, here's a recipe for giblet curry. And don't tell her you have the recipe, or next time she'll tell you make it yourself.